If you're looking to buy your next deal or even your first deal to wholesale, fix and flip, keep as a rental, whatever, and you're trying to do it on a shoestring budget, you don't want to spend hundreds, thousands, or definitely not tens of thousands of dollars every month in marketing, but you want to get that next deal, you came to the right place. So we're going to talk about two different strategies that you can leverage to generate leads and deals for $0 out of pocket. And we're going to focus heavily in this video on driving for dollars and organic referrals. First and foremost, what is driving for dollars and what are organic referrals and why should you care? Why does it matter? Well, very simply, marketing costs a lot of money. Okay. I have been running my wholesale operation at scale for 5, coming up on 6 years now. And I can tell you that last year, we were spending $40,000, $50,000 a month on marketing to do the amount of revenue that we were doing. That is not something that most people want to or can spend. And frankly, most people shouldn't, right? If you're just trying to buy one deal, 2 deals, do a couple deals a year, you shouldn't do that, right? And if I could go back and talk to myself from years ago, I would tell myself to focus a little bit more on some of the strategies like we're going to talk about here that I could have had less expense out of pocket. And some of these things are scalable as well. And it's much safer to scale when you can control your expenses as much as humanly possible. Okay. So the reason that I think sharing this is so valuable right now is, with the economy and inflation and everything that's happening in this crazy 2023 going into 24, I think this information is invaluable for anybody that, again, is trying to buy their next deal or their first deal in 2024. So with that being said, let's jump right into driving for dollars. If you're not familiar with it, you've probably already heard the term, but from a high level, really all that it means is driving around in neighborhoods that you already invest or that you do want to invest or you do want to wholesale houses. Drive around, look for properties that are run down, beat up, pieces of crap houses, and write down the address. And then you are going to get to a computer and look up the owner of the property. You're going to call them on your phone and you're just going to say, "Hey, is this the owner of 123 Main Street?" "Yes." "Okay, wonderful. I was in the neighborhood and I was driving by, wanted to see if you'd consider an offer on your property." Boom, done. And then run with your sales script from there and try to get to the root of the issue or whatever's going on. So yeah, that's it from a high level overview. And it really is that simple. There's a couple different ways that you can do it. You can physically drive around. You could literally go for a jog in the neighborhood. You could even, you have to make sure that it's updated, but there are people that will digitally drive for dollars using like Google Street View and just simply click to drive down the street rather than wasting gas money or time. But when you do that, just make sure that you look in the bottom right-hand corner of the Google Street View and make sure that it's a somewhat updated map or 3D view. You don't want to be looking at stuff from 10, 12 years ago. So many different ways that you can do that, many different ways that you can leverage that as well. One of the things that we did a couple years ago, and we didn't stick with it. We did bring in a couple deals, but I was so heavily focused on the direct response marketing because it is more controllable in a linear fashion. I can simply say, I'm going to up our marketing budget on this direct mail campaign from $10,000 a month to $20,000 a month and instantly see a doubling in our amount of leads that are coming in. It's a little bit harder to do that with some of the strategies like this that I'm sharing with you today. However, it is a safer thing to do. And, you're not risking tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it, right? So, but one of the ways that we did scale this a little bit, it was probably a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. We reached out to a bunch of different people that were driving for Uber, and we said, hey, look, here's what we do. We are constantly looking for houses that are run down. And if you just send them over to us and we close on any of them, we'll pay you a couple $100 for any deal that we close on. You're already out driving around anyway. If you happen to notice something that looks like a rundown piece of crap, jot down the address, send it over to us. You can do that as well. You can do the same thing with mailmen. We actually closed a couple deals from mailmen that did the same thing. Not only did they send us over just an address, but a lot of our mailmen are like the town celebrity, and they talk to everybody and know everything that's going on, which really helped to build the relationship, to have them already basically like a warm lead when they sent things over to us in the past. So that can work really well as well. So with driving for dollars, a couple things that I think are helpful to bring up. If it is summertime, one of the great things to look for is overgrown lawns. You can look for weeds growing up the side of the house. You can, I guess, regardless of time of year, you could look for things like missing shingles, hole in the roof, broken windows, cars parked on the lawn or in the driveway that look like they've been abandoned and haven't moved in years. Those are all pretty good indicators that not necessarily that somebody wants to sell you the house, but that it's neglected and they may consider an offer on the property, right? Which is our goal. If it happens to be winter time, one of the things that I like to train to look for is window air conditioner units that are still in the windows and it's snowing outside, you know? It's just another quick, easy visual indicator that this property is not being maintained the way that it really should. And I don't want to go too deep into different softwares and things that will make this easier, but I will tell you that we internally use PropStream even for the driving for dollars aspect. And it can just make everything a little bit easier for you rather than writing down the address or putting it in a note-taking app in your phone. Then when you get back to your computer, looking up the owner, it kind of just streamlines the process a little bit. This is not a paid promotion by any means. There's a lot of different softwares that do this. However, the purpose of this video is low cost or no cost. So I want to continue on with that theme. And it is absolutely worth mentioning that you don't need any of that, especially if you're just trying to buy your next deal, your first deal, whatever. You don't need any of that. In fact, a lot of it will just slow you down, bog you down, and now you're playing with technology and trying to learn new things rather than doing a freaking deal, okay? You absolutely can, and you should, when you first get started, be doing this with a notepad or just a note-taking app in your phone, okay? And yeah, all that you're going to do is after you got that address written down or that list of addresses written down, you can go on a site like whitepages.com. Again, I know that we have a paid subscription for it, and don't quote me on it because I didn't research before this. But I'm pretty sure you can do 25, maybe even up to 50 searches per month without having a paid subscription at all. So you can leverage that. Again, there's other softwares that you can use as well. Often you can even just type in 123 Main Street, Ridley, PA, and you'll even be able to find stuff on Google. Maybe you find the owners, you don't find their phone number, but you find a social media profile or whatever. Doesn't matter. You're just looking for some way to reach out to them, break the ice, and say some form of whatever your icebreaker for your script is. I was in the neighborhood, saw the property, wanted to talk with you, whatever it is. You're just trying to slide into their DMs, so to speak. That was my attempt at humor. So that can be a really powerful thing, and you can generate lots of leads, lots of deals in that manner without spending a whole lot of money. And with what we were doing, running it at scale, it did become like an animal in and of itself. We had different people, mailmen, Uber drivers, that were all sending us the same addresses and everything. And we weren't really set up for it at the time, right? It would have taken more effort and energy to organize all of the chaos. But where was I going with that? The point is, with some of the people that referred us a lot of deals, bird dogs or whatever you want to call it in that time frame, that were doing exactly what I'm talking about here, we would let everyone be aware that not all leads and not all deals are created equally, right? So like I said, we printed that big dry erase check. Sometimes we would pay a $500 referral. Sometimes we would pay $1,000. Sometimes we paid up to $5,000. I think we did that 3 or 4 times, that we were able to pay out a $5,000 referral for somebody simply sending us a lead. Now, that's where I want to clarify. Almost every case where we paid out $5,000, the person that referred that deal to us did a lot more than say, hey, Drew, here's this address, 123 Main Street. It looks like a piece of crap. They did a lot more, as well as it ended up being a really good deal and it was profitable for my company and we were able to pay out a higher amount. But in almost all of those cases, that bird dog, which really by definition just means somebody that is going out and hunting for leads, hunting for deals for you, they did more legwork to curate that relationship. They weren't just sending over an address, and they weren't just sending over even a cold lead. They were basically sending over a warm lead, which is the perfect segue into the second thing that I want to talk about here, which is organic referrals. The more work that somebody does to warm up a prospect or to just educate them on your process or what you do as an individual or whatever before handing them over, it just already starts to build that rapport and that trust. And honestly, it makes your life and your job that much easier, because you kind of get to skip that step, so to speak, of letting somebody know that you're not a piece of crap that's just out to scam them or anything. You are a real legitimate person. You have a real legitimate business. You do buy houses. You can buy their house. You can solve their problems. You have solutions, right? So the other thing that I wanted to talk about is organic referrals. And kind of a funny story, not that funny because I probably lost out on millions of dollars over the course of the last couple years because of this limiting belief I had. And the limiting belief was that we had always done deals from people bringing us organic referrals, but I never thought that it was controllable or scalable. And as a result of that, I never really focused on it. So anytime that we would get a deal that somebody would send over to us, obviously I would be happy. That's a wonderful thing. We're able to pay out a referral. That's awesome. But me being the direct response marketing guy that has spent millions of dollars at this point on marketing, and it's really easy to see the linear scale. I was spending $10,000 a month on this mail campaign. Now I spent $20,000 a month, and I can see a direct correlation in dollars spent to the amount of leads that come in. That's controllable. Therefore, that's scalable in my brain. As a result of me thinking that, I never really focused on the organic referral side of the business until really it was like the end of last year, the end of 2022. I was looking at some end of the year totals and return on ad spend, ROAS, for all the different campaigns that we had run over the course of that year. And I realized that we had done almost $250,000 in organic referrals. And frankly, I was kind of blown away. I didn't think it was that high. It's one of them things that I always have an idea. I have a running total in my mind of all these different things. and what is working and what isn't working, but actually having that data there in front of you and being able to make data-driven decisions. This is why it's so damn important, because I was shocked, right? But I think a piece of me didn't really deeply know the number because, again, going back to that limiting belief, I didn't think that it was worth knowing because it's not controllable. Therefore, it's not scalable. So I shouldn't really focus my time or energy on it. And what we bring in from it, and we can celebrate, and, you know, it's just wonderful, right? But after realizing that it was $250,000 that we brought in from organic deals, I was like, holy crap, maybe I'm an idiot and I need to focus on this just a little bit, right? Because look, at the end of the day, my thought process going into this was, man, if I can even increase 10%, right? It's an extra $25,000 a year added to the bottom line without increasing expenses or overhead or anything else. Sounds pretty awesome. Let me try to figure it out. And really, the changes that I made me feel like the biggest idiot ever because the changes were so simple, right? Really, there were two big changes that I made to increase the amount of organic referrals that we got. The first one was simply talking about how we pay referrals when somebody brings us a lead or a deal on social media, which is mind-boggling to me because I've always been pretty damn active on social media. I've always posted projects that we're doing and flips and rentals and a whole bunch of stuff that I do on the day-to-day. But simply making 1 or 2 posts per month saying, hey, by the way, did you know that we pay referrals when somebody brings us a lead or a deal? The amount of leads and deals that came as a result of that was really, really shocking. And again, I just kind of felt like an idiot. And what I did to amplify that to the next level, the second step of this was that dry erase check that we made. It was like 2 foot by 4 foot. When we would pay out a referral to anyone, well, not anyone, because a lot of people are camera shy and didn't want to be shared on social media or anything like that. But for anybody that was cool with it, we would take a picture of them with the big dry erase check saying that they got $500, $1,000, $5,000, whatever for the deal. Then we get to share that on social media and say, hey, look, here's Gary with his $5,000 check. Did you know that all that Gary had to do was send us a lead? In that case, he actually sent us a deal. This could be you too. As a result of that, like, we were able to skyrocket the amount of people that were actively sending us leads and deals at any given time with $0 spent. That's not entirely true. I think the dry erase check costs like $40 or something like that. But yeah, that just goes to show you that there are always ways to be a little bit more savvy and smart with your dollars. And again, as we go into 2024 here, I think that it matters so much more to be really cost conscious with where you're putting your money, where you're putting your marketing spend, and actually tracking return on ad spend for all of your efforts that you're putting out, and make sure that you're operating intelligently and you don't get burned in this crazy economy that we're in. Make no mistake, there are leads, there are deals, there are opportunities out there, regardless of what the market is doing. There are sellers that need your help. There are buyers that are hungry for deals, ready to park money in real estate, whether it's development, fix and flip, landlording, whatever. There's people out there. There's always deals, always opportunity. Go seize it. See you on the next one.